Hey guys, Carl from Plughugger here. This is my review of Avenger 2. And this will be a big one and a bit talky. So before I start, just to be clear, I bought Avenger 2 for my own money. I didn't get a review copy from Vengeance. I have no NDAs, NFRs, NFTs or anything like that. My money, my opinion as a guy who likes to make sounds. Me going into Avenger 2 was almost completely in the dark. I never used the original Avenger, and thanks to a guy I appreciate at the KVR forums, I decided to give it a shot. I never planned to make a review until I went to their website, where it boldly said, "The last synthesizer you'll ever need." That's a bold statement. As I said, I never used Avenger before, and the last time I used any product from Vengeance was way back when they were distributed by Muteki Media on actual pressed CDs. I also own the ReFX Nexus, so I know a bit about the ecosystem and the Vengeance style of sounds, and how they like to make business. This video is not a comparison between Avenger and Nexus, but I will touch on both of them from time to time, as they basically are like half-brothers. The difference between the two is probably easiest if you think on what they have in common, which is some of the sound designers. But apart from that, they couldn't be more different. Nexus started out as a basic preset player and is slowly becoming ever so slightly more advanced. But compared with Avenger, Nexus is like a compact city self-driving car, compared with a real car that could actually take you a fair bit into the mountains. Most synths released these days are trying to wow you with the obligatory list of jaw-dropping features. And just by looking, it's clear that Vengeance is trying to cover as much ground as possible. Someone on a forum called Avenger a jack of all trades, master of none. And while I get what they're saying, I think that's an unfair statement, as it implies that Avenger can't do what it sets out to do particularly well. Nothing could be further from the truth. Technically, and including quality into that judgment, I would say that Avenger is delivering and almost underselling itself. Technically, Avenger 2 follows a traditional subtractive structure. In other words, oscillators go to the amplifier, filter, and goes to the effects and goes out the speakers. The structure is logical, but also flexible, almost like in a modular fashion. You want one oscillator there, samples there, and that filter for this and this effect for that. At times it feels like building Lego, but with every synth component known to man. The oscillator section is just crazy. It's complete and utter overkill. You got 8 oscillators. Omnisphere got 4, and I've never felt the need to go beyond that. Each one can be individually set to different sound generators, like traditional synth waveforms, wavetable, samples, granular. You can build sounds from their harmonic frequencies, do simple FM and AM, and if you want to go West Coast, you can do that too. Load up a sine wave and start adding harmonics with wave shapers. On top of the 8 oscillators, you got a special drums oscillator, which basically is a plugin within a plugin. A drum sampler with a separate pattern-based sequencer. I'm not going to cover every part of Avenger 2. The video would be like checking off a spec sheet and will be extremely boring. I just want to be clear that the features included are not there to make the illusion of something beefy. The parts are done competently and at times even with incredible brilliance. For example, did you know that you can stack samples in the single sample oscillator? Click the plus sign and you can layer another sample on top of the one you're already using within the same oscillator. If you want to do fancy stuff like pitching and separate filtering, of course, you need to create a brand new oscillator. But for simple layering, just click the plus and you're good to go. How smart is that? Sure, the FM isn't FM like FM8 or the old DX7. And the Granular Engine isn't as advanced as, say, the one in Pigments. But it's a great engine that creates very smooth sounding results.
Hey DJ, hey.
Some of the criticisms of previous versions of Avenger has been that it doesn't sound analog like an analog hardware synth, or a proper software emulation like the Softtube's Repro or later Arturia releases. And yeah, sure, I can see that. The sound of Avenger is unashamedly modern. I am sure you can do analog style sounds that feels convincing, but really? Am I the only one with more than one plugin in my folder? I mean, not everything has to be able to do everything all the time. If I need convincing analog tones out of the box, I use Repro or Diva for that. The biggest news for version 2 is a new oscillator type called Spectral, which is a bit like the old Granular Engine, but built on a different technical foundation.
Hey DJ, let it go. Hey.
There is an FFT filter, which is like a hyper-detailed equalizer and good for creating phasey sounds with. The arpeggiator can now ratchet, and comes with a number of cool presets. There is a new drum browser taking up the lower window, which is a big deal, as the previous one was laughably small. The reverb got a new shimmer mode, which basically is a modulated reverb with controls for pitching the reverb tail. Shimmer Reverbs was for the longest time the hallmark of Eventide hardware reverbs, very useful for atmospheric and ambient stuff. There is also a new delay effect called Quantum, and this one is so damn cool that my first reaction was to write to Vengeance asking them to release it as a separate plugin. Quantum is basically 3 delays. If you think of Effectrix from Sugar Bytes, you're pretty close to what Quantum does. Further on, there is a randomizer for the arpeggiator, lo-fi effects, new drum loops, new samples, new presets, and check this out. Vengeance promises a smooth 60 FPS interface, 60 frames per second. Well, I don't know about you, but maybe the guys at Vengeance should stop playing Fortnite and spend more time building up their sample and preset library. Nah, I'm just joking. If the interface is smoother than before, all is good. I remember hearing about some users having problems with the interface, but if Avenger 2 aims for a high frame rate, then my guess is that it might not work well with computers with older graphics cards or integrated graphics chips. The interface looks and feels much better with the new version 2. Another very cool feature is that now you got audio previews when browsing the presets. The new factory library is excellent, with many sounds having clear and distinct sonic profiles. One of my favorite sounds quickly became the Spectral Piano, which sounds just gorgeous. The majority of the sounds are clearly aimed at modern dance genres. Sure, there are some analog synths and electric pianos, but a big chunk of the sounds is for the EMD crowd. And, well, is there anyone who is surprised? Another thing I thought of when I was playing around with the sounds is that I couldn't find any sounds that uses aftertouch, not even a funky vibrato. And I really don't understand why. Obviously, I haven't checked every single sound, but it confuses me a bit. Every sound seemed to have the macro knobs already programmed with assignments, but no MIDI pressure? Something that has been around since 1983? Hello? In either case, you can set up manual assignments pretty easy, but for a plugin of this level, I would have thought that aftertouch would have been a given. So, is Avenger 2 the alpha and omega of synthesis? Their own words. I hear claims like that almost every day. But in this case, it's not empty marketing words, that's for sure. The synth sounds better than great. It has a metric ton of features, and none of them feels like fillers. And it's being curated by one of the most prolific sound designers on the dance music scene. I mean, what else is there to say? We're talking about serious quality here. So is Avenger the end-all and be-all of synths? No. For me, it isn't. I'm not throwing away Omnisphere any day soon, and Diva and Repro are just too good sounding. How about Arturia Pigments? Pigments or Avenger? Which one would I pick? That's more difficult. I think Avenger sounds better than Pigments, but Pigments have a better interface. So is there anything I don't like? Yes, there is. And I am not going to be popular for saying this, but the interface... Man, I don't like it that much. Look, the interface is not bad. From a sound designer's perspective, it's pretty damn good. First time you see it, you think it looks like a chaotic mess. But 20 minutes in, and you are starting to get it. It's all logical. The whole synth fits in one page, divided into 8 boxes, 4 big ones and 4 smaller. And everything is done from here. No other pages. In order to cope with the sheer amount of stuff, Vengeance went with a tab-based interface for each of the boxes. And I get it. They wanted to have as much possible control available with no layers upon layers of hidden functions. Everything should be quickly accessible from the front. But personally, I think it looks cluttered like... I feel like I'm sitting in front of a multi-screen coding setup. Or one of those walls of screens traders are using. There is meters and infos coming at you from every single corner. And yeah, it really looks like a mess. The only thing I can say in its defense is that it works. Even though I came into Avenger 2 completely in the dark, I didn't have to watch any tutorials or read the manual. I don't think I ever got stuck trying to figure something out for more than a couple of minutes. And that everything is always in the same place speeds up muscle memory. But on the whole, no, I am not a fan of the interface. I get what they were trying to do, and on one hand they nailed it. But do you always need to have the full preset browser available at all times? I don't think so, and definitely not the effects section. So there you have it. It is what it is. Another thing I have objections to is this mentality to shove everything into one preset. And I mean everything. While having a preset that is almost like an entire song is cool and all, but it's not that practical. Much more practical would be to do it the old school way, like with old romplers. You have a bunch of presets and you combine those into one multi-preset. That way, it's easy to swap out certain parts, like changing a piano for an electric piano or organ. But in Avenger, all presets are glued together, and honestly, it's a bit impractical. So, should you buy it? If you're completely new to sound design, no, I wouldn't recommend Avenger to you. You will get lost and only use the presets. It's like buying a Ferrari before getting a driver's license. It's a waste of power. For everybody else, I would say yeah, put Avenger on your radar. It will even satisfy cutting-edge sound designers who fears nothing. I can even see Avenger being used as a complementary tool for working with movies and TV scoring. It shouldn't be your first choice, but there are good tools in there. Another thing I would like to throw out into the ether is that if you want to learn sound design for dance music, this is the master course. Don't waste your time or money with tutorials. Buy Avenger and analyze the hell out of the sounds. Vengeance have their sound and it's not for everybody, but dissecting presets shows you all you need to know how to make really good sounds yourself. Something that is not possible with something like Nexus. If you're just after a preset player and are ready to pay bloody 70 euros for a preset pack, well, the quality is outstanding. Talking about money, the new version have bumped up the regular price to $250, and the update from version 1 goes for roughly half that. Vengeance have always done business their way, and their pricing have always been on the heavy side. But in return you get a lot. And with version 1 you got a crazy amount of significant updates, all for free. So yeah, lots of money, but I don't think the price is unfair though. Would I recommend Avenger? No doubt. Would I use Avenger instead of Omnisphere? No way. Would I choose Avenger instead of Diva or Repro? Again, no way. They are so streamlined for what they do, and more intuitive and more rapid to work with. The bottom line is this: Avenger is a hell of a synth. I have some gripes with the interface, but that's basically nothing. A couple of days with it and muscle memory takes over, and you are used to their way of thinking. I wouldn't recommend Avenger to a beginner though. It's way too easy to get lost in all the possibilities. You need a bit of mental discipline, just like with Omnisphere, to get things done with Avenger. Avenger is essentially a Nexus with the hood open. I would even go so far to say that Avenger makes Nexus redundant. I use Nexus because the presets get me where I want in very little time. With Avenger it does the same, but you have the possibility to mess around yourself. I can't do anything else but stand up and applaud Vengeance for Avenger. It's a damn fine synth. Well worth checking out.